Hello, Kanye. High confidence. I'm so hungry, guys. Cyril's electricity is giving us a hard time. How are you, my dear? Cyril's electricity is giving us a hard time, guys. I had load shedding and my Wi-Fi just stopped working. I didn't have enough data, the stress. Hi Zaza, hi Zanele. I had so much stress. I thought this life was not going to happen. Imagine if it wasn't gonna happen. How are you, Z? I'm good, guys. Can't complain, honestly speaking. No complaints. But gratitude opens room for more, right? Gratitude opens room for more. Okay, I think I'm gonna... Olita, are you here? So today we are speaking to Olita, guys, the enrolled nurse. Hi, wena nurse. So good to see you here, hon. Hi, Mahudi Tepu. I'm so hungry. I didn't eat from work. I don't think I like calling you Wenanes. Why are you not telling us your real name, Mara? What's your problem? Hi, Pure. How are you, Pure? What's your problem? Why are you not telling us your real name? Let me look for Olita. I don't know if she's here. I don't see her. I don't see Olita. We're gonna wait for Olita, but I think she has her electricity back, so she should be here. Olita, if you are here, please send a request. Hello, Esther. Hi, Lunga. I saw you coming in. Molo Zimasa. Zimasi. Hello, Queen. Guys, where is Olita? I thought I'm gonna DM you my real name. I'm big on privacy. Okay. Okay. Understand. Hello, Marang. Hi, Mr. Marv. Anita, hello, Refugee. So, listen, the reason I found it important for us to have this particular live, guys, it is because ENs, ENAs are nurses. One of my friends sent me a message and said, hi, Zanele, if I do the 1-year program, am I gonna be able to, what did she say? How did she phrase it? She said, if I do the 1-year program, will I then be able to do nursing? So people outside nursing think that like the ENA program, basically, it's some sort of a pre-nursing course, and it is not a pre-nursing course. And also in the nursing profession, ENs and ENAs, in some environments, they are taken as, or they are looked down upon, or they are taken as, I don't know, like, let me put it in Venek, right? And I think I want us to understand that ENs are professionals. ENAs are professionals. They are nurses and they are they can stand on their own. They are not dependent on registered nurses. No, they are not dependent on registered nurses. However, there are things that they don't do, therefore they hand over to the registered nurse who has a broader scope of practice. Just as us as registered nurses, we can do up until a certain level, and then we always have to hand over to someone who has a broader scope of practice when it comes to whatever that pertains to that particular patient. So that is the reason for this particular life, to say we need to start acknowledging that ENs and ENAs are professionals, and therefore we have no room or platform to ask them to say, why are you not specializing, but why are you not becoming an RN? Guys, where is this lady? I love you too, Pure. Yeah, you have a beautiful name, Pure Kushle. Say hello to me. Ah, Daddy's girl. Hi. Hi, Buhle Bamudimo. I think it's Buntle Bamudimo, right? Lunga, yaboni kamalaka ndilibelanga. Hi, after completing auxiliary, can you apply for diploma? Yes, you can. Is it okay if we call it higher certificate in nursing now, guys? Let me I'm gonna pause, quickly go to WhatsApp and send her a text. Ne? I'm gonna pause, don't go anywhere. How do I search people, guys? Because I'm seeing very few people on my list here, but people are a lot. How do I search? I need her to at least yeah, there she is. Let me send her an invite. Nice. I'm so excited. What is the most difficult module in nursing? GNS, my darling. GNS. Hi, Olita.
Hello, Sissy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Can you tell how happy I am? I can't even contain it.
Hi, boy.
I don't know if you were on TikTok. I don't know if you just came in on TikTok or you were on TikTok, but I was just telling everyone that one of the reasons I'm so excited about this particular live is because I think I like using Tswana phrases because I stayed in the Northwest. But Tswana likes to say "Ngikhalimela lenyatso," right? And I think we need to do that in our profession, not only at the outside, like on other people. We're saying we are restoring the image of nursing, but not only to outsiders, but even here in our own household, right? We need to respect one another. That's number one. Number two, we need to know that we are all significant in this household and we are actually equals. We are all important, and RN is important, and EN is important, and an ENA is important. Like, there is no hierarchy of importance. We are all important and we are all needed in the profession. I think that's why I am extremely excited about this live, because we are sort of going to demonstrate that a person can actually build a career for them, and they don't have to become registered nurses to be happy and to live a purposeful life. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself.
Okay, good evening to everybody that is joining us. My name is Olita Kuboni and I am an enrolled nurse. Started my career in 2010. I did my first year in 2010. I studied through Mediclinic. So I started in 2010 and completed in 2012. And yeah, what happened after that.
So
So what happened?
you did the entire whole 2-year program. You didn't do 1 year and then you
Yes.
went back. Okay.
No, I did the 2-year program, and at the time, maybe let me just briefly give you a bit of history. So what happened is I did my first year at the age of 36.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
Yes. So I was 36 years old, and I came into the health field after spending 15 years in the banking sector.
Sure.
And I left the banking sector and took a break for almost a year. And when I went back into the working, when I went back to working, I found a position at Mediclinic as a ward secretary.
Okay.
Yes, so I worked as a ward secretary for a year in their cardiac ICU. And uh, uh, what happened there, I can't even explain till now, because within that year, I found myself being so curious about what they were doing. I mean, you can imagine in a cardiac ICU is the adrenaline rush. It's these highly qualified nurses who treated me like one of their own. And I remember the first day when I walked in that ward, one of them gifted me with a nursing dictionary, because now I was going to have to book for procedures for patients and all of that. And coming from the banking sector, I had no clue what was expected of me. So this particular nurse, I think she saw my inquisitiveness, because I would always ask, what is a cabbage? What is a angiogram? What is this? And from that, she saw that this one wants to learn, and she gifted me with the dictionary. And after doing
Olita,
my,
Olita, sorry
yes,
to disturb you. Guys, can you please tap, 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 tap so that it can reach a lot of enrolled nurses who are probably on here. And if not, please tap, tap, tap the like. I think I have
okay.
to bring all the enrolled nurses to
Ach, shame, man. Yeah. Yeah, so as I was saying, I got in, I was appointed on the 1st of December 2008, and the whole of 2009 was a year of me asking questions, wanting to know, what is this? What is this big machine? These are vents. What happens here? What are you doing? So I would do my work. And I mean, as a ward secretary, once you've done your admin for the morning, you've taken the files for archiving, you've ordered stock, you literally sitting there and looking pretty and being a welcoming face in the ward. So that for me was a time where I would ask them questions. I think I was bothering them. So I would ask questions. And one of them decided to gift me with this medical dictionary, or the nursing dictionary. So that's when I basically began to fall in love with nursing, because looking at how they would treat the patient, how somebody would walk in being pushed from theater on a vent and literally walking out of the ward, I fell in love. So I only did that job for 11 months, from December 2018 until around October 2019, December 2008 until October 2009, when they advertised that they were taking nurses to go study. So they opened up the training, that applications are opened, and I thought, you know what, I want to apply. And I went to the training and development office, and I told them that I want to apply. What must I do? Didn't this woman tell me, number one, you are too old. Number two, when did you write your matric? I wrote my matric in 1993. You see, even your marks, they don't count the same. Remember, Rona, we come from the time of symbol A, B, C, D, E, whatever the case may be. So she told me, how old are you? I said, no, I'm 35, and I did my matric in 1993. And this woman says to me, Ish, you know what? number one, you are old. I doubt you will be able to do the course because it's very hectic, and Mediclinic requires you to maintain a universal standard of 60% and above on everything. And I said to this woman, can I just apply? Even if I don't make it, can I just apply? And then she said to me, okay, bring your matric certificate. And I applied. And lo and behold, I was accepted to go write the psychometric test, and wrote the psychometric test, passed the psychometric test, went for my first interview, passed the first interview, went for my second interview, passed the second interview, and February 1st, 2010, I became the oldest student in a class of young people that just wrote their matric. And by God's grace, I did the course and I cummed my course. When my name was called on graduation day, it was Paulina Olita Kuboni cum laude, and I proudly walked that stage. Listen, it was on my, I will share one day my graduation photo. On my graduation photo is myself, my two daughters at the time, and my granddaughter who was around a year and a couple of months, because when I was doing, just after I did my first year, my first daughter fell pregnant in her matric year. And I was now thinking, should I now leave the course and go back to work because I need more money now because here's a grandchild coming. But I persevered, and as I said, I cummed my course. And unfortunately for us, or fortunately, because sometimes when one door closes, it's just a redirection for you to focus on something else. I wanted to bridge. The plan was to do bridging 1 and bridging 2. But when we qualified in 2012, there was something going on. I can't remember what was going on with SANC. They stopped the bridging intake, so we could not. So it means we had to wait until SANC could give a Mediclinic nursing college the go ahead to continue with the bridging. Or it was a time when it was moving to UNISA or something like that. So they were changing how the bridging was going to happen. So now that landed us, my group, in a space where now we cannot bridge like directly from EN. We had to work, and unfortunately there were other groups that were coming behind us, so it was like 3 groups that were waiting for bridging. And I figured that this was going to take me a long time to finally do the bridging, because number one, my age was disadvantaging me, because that was the one thing that was kept being drilled, that remember, you are older, so the younger ones might stand a better chance, and so I qualified in 2012, and because I studied through Mediclinic, we had to work back because they were now funding us. So I worked back. But in the middle, or towards the end of 2013, somebody told me about phlebotomy, and I did not know what that was. So I went on Google and said, what is this phlebotomy? And I applied for a position at Pathcare at the time, and they took me, just EN, no experience of phlebotomy, took me, trained me, and I worked as a phlebotomist for almost 2 years. You will stop me when you want to ask questions, because it's a very long history. So I worked as a phlebotomist for almost 2 years, and when I was still working as a phlebotomist, I saw an advert. I think I must make it clear that because I was now living, I always say I was in round 2 of my life. I felt like I had a catching up to do, because my peers at the time when we finished our matric, they went to study, but I could not study because I was also now married, which is another story for another day, and had my child, and. So I felt like I needed to catch up. So I did not have the luxury of time. So every opportunity that I saw, I grabbed with both hands.
You know what?
Because
Sorry to interrupt, but as you are speaking, do you know what comes at the back of my mind? That this woman is highly self-motivated. Like your motivation stems from within. Ah, man, you're such a powerhouse.
it does, and I will tell you, I feel like I say, there are things in my history that made me the person that I am today. I'm gonna share in 2 seconds. I was put into an arranged marriage at the age of 16. 16-year-old, still can't even bath myself properly. My mother decided that, you know what, I'm gonna talk with my friend, and you and his nephew are gonna get married. I don't know this man. The first time I meet him is the day that they come to pay for lobola. So that meant that after our matric, when my friends were going to tertiary, going to teaching colleges, going to university, now I was told that you are my wife, you're gonna stay home because you are my wife. So at 18, I had my firstborn in my matric in 1992. So I had to go back in 1993 to do my matric. My peers are already a year ahead of me. They are in tertiary. Now I've got this child. I'm redoing my matric. So the drive comes from the fact that I felt that there were decisions that were made for me and I could not change them, but I could change how I move forward. So the drive comes from there.
Olita, you did not prepare for you. My body is shrinking. You did not prepare me for this. Sure.
So everything that I find and do, I put my hands on. It's always catching up because the first part of my life was decided for me. There's nothing I can do about it. I cannot claim it back. It's gone. But I can definitely do something about today.
Come on.
So that is where my drive actually comes from. So I worked at Pathcare as a phlebotomy nurse, and whilst I was still doing that, I come from the Val. So I saw in the Val Stair, Health Nikon Nursing College is looking for an EN to be a tutor for the care workers. Didn't I apply? I don't know anything about tutoring. I just saw they want an EN, and I'm an EN mus. So what else do they want? They said they want an EN. I applied for the tutor position at Health Nikon, and I was given the opportunity to be a tutor. I'm telling you, so I tutored these care workers, and I opened a WhatsApp group for them, because for most of them it was difficult. The course was difficult.
Sorry, Olita, are you an EN? No, I feel like you should have called me, because now I can't even ask you questions. I'm just shocked. I think you should have called me and briefed me. I'm in shock.
So I mean, you must just check the time. In April 2015, I am now appointed as a tutor at Health Nikon in Vereeniging, and I'm giving a class of over 100 students who are now wanting to be care workers. And I have this huge class which I split into two. The first class goes in the morning until lunchtime. Then they go to the other tutor who does practicals. I do theory. I know nothing. I study as I go. I've never been a tutor before. I'm giving study material. I'm giving worksheets. I'm giving lesson plans to say this is how you plan your lesson. This is what. Didn't I do it like I've been doing it for ages? I'm standing in front of that class, and I'm telling these young girls and boys that listen, we're gonna do this together. And I'm talking to you now. I've got 3 of my former students who are RNs.
Hi,
And
Olita.
and until today, if I meet any of my students, I met one of my students actually at the funeral in the Val this past Saturday. I just hear, ma'am, and I look, and it's one of my students. She says, yo, ma'am, you're still beautiful. And we start talking, and she left the course. She's just an ENA. And I say to her, listen, the training is open now for R171. Go and register. Your peers are RNs. What are you still doing here? You are catering at funerals. This is not what I taught you. So yes, I tutor this class of care workers. I make a success of it. However, this nagging thing keeps bugging to say you are EN. I also had dreams of being an RN, because I think when you are in the nursing space, the desire to see yourself wearing those maroon epaulets becomes huge, because I mean, let's be honest, when we are in our working areas, your ENs and your ENAs are made to feel like non-entities.
True.
You understand?
That's what I said before you could join us.
Yes.
We are trying
Yes.
to rectify that.
So you are made to feel like you don't matter. Only the RN matter. So I too had a dream of becoming an RN. But now remember, the carpet was pulled under my feet at Mediclinic when they were changing how they do bridging, now they do with UNISA, and we had to stop. So I'm now a tutor at Health Nikon, and I still maintain that, you know what, yes, I'm tutoring, but I still have a dream of becoming an RN. So I decide to say, you know what, go back to clinical space. I don't go back to Mediclinic. I apply at Sebokeng Hospital.
Okay.
I applied once. It took about 3 to 4 months. They called me for an interview, and I was appointed as an EN at Sebokeng Hospital. The plan was that I'm going to work the time that they require me to work, and then I'm going to apply to do bridging.
A woman with a plan. Sure.
Yes. So I worked. I started at Sebokeng Hospital, and I worked as an EN. They told me, no, you have to work. Was it 12 months? I can't remember. 12 months first before you can apply, whatever. So I do that, and I work, and I'm okay. I'm working towards a goal that I want to finish my whatever probation they have put on me to say I can apply before I reach these months. And the year that I decide that this year I'm applying is the year when they say this is the last intake of bridging. And I'm told there are ENs that have been working here since 1983, so they're going to get first preference. So this is the second time that the carpet is pulled under my feet. So my dream of becoming an RN are now shattered, because bridging is closed, SANC is changing the curriculum. We don't know what is going to come. I continue to work at Sebokeng Hospital, and I work with a gentleman who came to work in Sebokeng Hospital from the medical aid space. So he moved from the medical aid space and he went back to the hospital. So this guy becomes the senior in my ward, and I work very closely with him. There is one thing that I then learned to tell myself, that there is nothing that I cannot do that an RN can do.
Come on.
Akira, our scope of practice always says there are things that you can do under supervision.
Yeah.
So I create a space next to this guy for myself. And I say to him, anything that you feel that you can teach me, please teach me, because I want to know. And he literally holds my hand. He literally allows me to do stuff that are outside of my scope under his supervision, of course. And I make a success of it.
Sure.
I do doctors round with the consultants. When the consultants walks in the room, I am there to do the rounds with them, because he trusts that he's trained me well. It's a 40-bed ward. There's no way he can manage on his own. So I become his second hand, and he teaches me everything that he knew. And we work. Now, a big frustration comes in my life where the finances are not adding up. And one day I share with him that, you know what, I love what I do. I may never be an RN because now SENC is changing the curriculum, but I'm frustrated by the money that I'm getting here because it's not meeting my basic needs. And then he says to me, how brave are you? I say, hey, Muna, at this rate, I can kill a bull with my bare hands because I am not surviving financially. He says to me, bring me your CV. My wife still works at MedScheme. My wife is still at MedScheme. Give me your CV. I will give it to my wife. She will apply for you. I give this guy my CV. The wife applies for me. MedScheme calls me in for an interview.
Olita, wait, I need to ask a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever submitted your CV and not be called for an interview?
No, not for things that I wanted, positions that I wanted thus far.
I can pick that up. I can tell.
I've been graced and blessed enough to, if I tell myself that I want this position and I speak to God about it, He makes a way somehow.
Sure.
When I gave this guy my CV, my motivation at the time was that I need money. I'm not making it. I'm borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and it's beginning to weigh me down. So he puts in my CV. They apply for a position for a pre-authorization consultant. I don't have a clue what that is. I don't know what that is. All I know is that it's at the MedScheme, which does medical aids, and I don't know anything else apart from that. They called me in for an interview. You ask me clinical things. Listen, I will wipe the floor with you because there's nothing that I was not exposed to. There are things that I was not allowed to do because of my rank, but those that I was allowed to do under supervision, I've done it all. So if you put me in a space where you're going to ask me about,
I need to take my pen, Olita,
okay,
take my pen and my notebook and start
okay,
taking notes because I've got questions, burning questions, and I think I'm gonna forget them. You can continue.
Okay, no, it's fine. So I got called for an interview at MedScheme, and a couple of, I think 2-3 weeks later, they say, listen, you got a job. This is your offer. Yay, I almost fell off my chair. My basic at Sebokeng Hospital was 12,500 at the time. And when I went to MedScheme, they offered me 23,000. I felt like I'm going to be the richest woman alive. Listen, I did not care what they...
23.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I kept pinching myself like, okay, is this for real? I could not believe that salary until the first salary clocked into my account. You understand? And the fact that I had no clue what I was gonna do, I get there, we go through training, they train you very well. But I don't wanna lie, the first week on the floor with headsets as a call center pre-auth agent, they were hell. I thought of going back, but the money kept me there. There was no way I was gonna go back to 12,500 and leave my 23,000 rand.
That's double the salary.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I pushed through. I worked, and my journey thus far, God has proven to me that human relations are our biggest resource. People are your biggest resource because people are the keys you need for your next breakthrough is in the hands of somebody.
Sure.
So I So I work as a call center agent. Is a call center, it's hectic, but I persevere because I figure this is the only way that I'm gonna change my financial situation at my house, that I'm gonna make sure that as a single mother, my kids go to school, they've got food, they've got shelter, they've got everything that they need. So I work, and unbeknownst to me, my team leader at the time was watching me. And this woman was watching me. And when an opportunity came for them to appoint people that will be second in charge to the team leader, when the team leader is not there, the other agents will need to come to you. When there's an agent who's struggling, you become a peer mentor. Then I become a peer mentor in my department. And this woman gives me empowerment. She empowers me. She trains me on the system, the system that the team leaders use to monitor the agents, the calls that come, how long one agent spends on the calls and all of that. She teaches me. And when she's not there, I do that job. Now I am now a stand in for the team leader when the team leader is not there. So within the company itself, there are many, it's med scheme, but then there are many medical aids. So as time went, a new medical aid joined us. So they needed staff, and there were positions that were open in that department. So I applied to go there, and I went there. I started to train the people that were hired because it was people that came from outside. They did not know med scheme. So I trained them informally, so to say, okay, here in med scheme, they worked at another medical aid company. So I trained them the tricks of the trade for med scheme, to say, here in med scheme, this is what we do, this is what we do. And during that time, my team leader had to go for 3 months for training for 3 months. And didn't they appoint yours truly to be the team leader for the 3 months when she's not there? Now, the enrolled nurse, Olita Kuboni, is now acting team leader. I've got 18 consultants that are reporting to me.
Hi, Bo.
And I'm doing the things that needs to be done. And one thing that I have taught myself is that I never not do something because I don't know. If I can Google it, I Google it. If I can go and hold Nezi by the skirt and say, I'm Zala, what is this? Then I do that. So I do everything that needs to be done to get the information and the knowledge that I need. So I do that. And when I'm still busy doing this, a position for a clinical facilitator in the med scheme training center comes available. They want an RN. The position is clear. You must be RN. You must have worked for med scheme for at least 6 months. You must have at least maintained a score of 4 on your performance appraisals. And I'm like, okay, score of 4, easy. That's me. That's my forte. It's 4 and above. I've been here for definitely more than 6 months. Clinically, you must have this clinical knowledge and that and that. The only thing that I was not was an RN. And I'm looking at these requirements. I say, okay, they've got 5 requirements for the position.
Olita.
The only one.
Yeah. I can't even breathe.
No, breathe.
You are telling me, listen, and as you are now narrating, you like God is showing me the reason why you had to go to that Sibukeng hospital to learn all the RN duties.
Yes. So the position has this, they will tell you that the requirements are this, the non-negotiables. So there are 5 non-negotiables, and of the 5, there's only one I don't have. The only one I don't have is an RN. I'm not an RN. I am an EN, but I know I can do the job. I've stood at Health Nikon in front of over 100 students. So I apply for the position. I apply and I get shortlisted. They advise me, now it's an internal position. You get advised that you are shortlisted, and I get an invitation to an interview. Now their interview is twofold. It's your formal interview, and then you need to prepare a presentation. Now the interview panel is gonna sit there. Now they give you material and you need to come and train them. Now they want to see. Listen, I prepared my stuff. Slides. I've never prepared slides before. At the Health Nikon, we had handouts. We were teaching with carry handouts. So now I have to prepare slides and I am like, what am I gonna do? I go on Google how to prepare a PowerPoint slides. And Google, actually, there are YouTube videos, and then this woman will say, and then you go there, you click there, and you click there, and I'm practicing. When she speaks, I'm on the laptop and I'm clicking, and now I can do a PowerPoint presentation. On the day of the interview, listen, I even go and find, those pointy flash, it's like a flashlight. Listen, it's me and my PowerPoint and the flashing thing. I don't even know what it's called.
I also don't know, but I know that pointing.
Listen, yes, I am there. They interview me and then they say, okay, now we go into the practical side. I put up my PowerPoint, I introduce myself, put up my PowerPoint, tell them briefly what I'm gonna teach them on and the top points, and then I go through my slides. I did my slides beautifully with pictures and all of those things. YouTube showed me how to do it. I did it and I presented. I kept pointing, as you can see there, and that light points there. It's me, I'm facilitating, and I go back to them. Is there any questions? And they all look at me and they said, no questions, thank you. And I left the interview. I think after 3 days, they sent me an email to say, you got the job. I am now a clinical facilitator for Afrocentric health. Afrocentric is the mother body. Yes, my darling. I am now clinical facilitator for Afrocentric health.
I am out. I am getting out of this life. I am out.
And I worked. And the nice thing about my time there is that they took me to school. I am now a qualified NQF level 4 facilitator. I'm registered. I can do facilitation as a side hustle. I can go and register at the training college and do that.
Listen, I want that certificate, the certificate that you just mentioned.
Please go and do it.
I want it so bad. I'm going to WhatsApp you.
Go and do it.
I'll WhatsApp you.
Please go and do it. So now I'm going to do my assessor and moderator. Then I know that I'm sorted. But I've got my...
Olita, can you just tell, briefly tell people what we are talking about now, particularly for the facilitator, moderator, and assessor certificate? Yeah, maybe people don't know what are those, because I also want to have them.
Okay, the facilitator certificate actually just means that you can train any subject anywhere, because they teach you how to facilitate a course. I can go and facilitate a course for IT people. As long as I've got their material, I can take their material, study it, do lesson plans, do everything that has to do with the subject matter. So you do you do research, you do your facilitation, you do it's got a lot of modules that you do. So it actually opens door for you if you want to even do training part-time. Yeah. And if you do the assessor and moderator, you can even go for the Department of Education and go mark scripts, the exam scripts at the end of the year. But also, as an RN, you can then also do your education and go and be a trainer at a nursing college or whatever the case may be.
Where did you do yours?
I did it with, now I forgot the company, because it was done through Afrocentric, actually organized. Yeah, organized, but it's accredited. It's NQF level 4. I've got my license number and all of those things. So I am a qualified facilitator now. Okay. So I worked there, And from there, where did I go? Okay, from there, another position that had more duties came up, and then I left the training and I worked there at PPS. It's in Centurion. I worked at PPS also for about 2 years or so. So currently, I when I was working there, remember at Med Scheme, I had opportunity as a trainer. I would train your pre-auth and I would train case managers. As an EN, I was training RNs that were coming in to be case managers. As an EN, I was training doctors that were coming in to be medical advisors. Listen.
Yay!
So
You ate and left no crumbs.
so I left the training space. I went to PPS, which also, every space has one or two or three new things that you're gonna learn. So I worked at PPS for another 2 years or so, and I recently, last year November, I went into a totally new space of health insurances. Health insurances are different to your traditional medical aid. So I'm there now. I'm doing case management and I'm doing claims assessing. I case manage. I assess the claim when they come in. I approve them. I send them to be paid. If it is not clinically appropriate, I decline them. I send feedback to say I've declined this, and I do case management, and I am loving it. I am loving it. The position required an EN, but the experience that I have gathered thus far has made it possible for me to occupy positions that I would have otherwise not qualified. And another thing that I have made sure that I do was to do every course that I come across that I feel that I can do, and it will open my eyes and open my mind to new things I do. I have a employment process certificate from UNISA. I've got a paralegal certificate from UNISA. I've got the facilitator a certificate, and I recently completed business management and development through GIPS. GIPS does their training via University of Pretoria. So all of those things are courses that I could do here and there. Some of them, like my business management and development, was paid for by PPS. Sure. I did not pay a cent. PPS said, if you want to study, tell us. So every company that says, if you want to study, come, there's funds, I go for it. I find something that interests me and I go for it. So my latest qualification I got through GIPS, University of Pretoria, business management and development. I did not pay a cent. PPS pay for it. So I'm currently a case manager / claims assessor / claims process claims / claims what. So that's why I am.
No need to disclose your salary, but I want to know: do you think you've reached at least the point that you wanted to reach when you were in Sebokeng and you were saying to your mentor, "I love what I do, but financially I am strained, I'm exhausted"? Do you think you've reached the point that you had in mind back then to say, "Man, at least if I can be here financially, I will be happy"? Do you think you've reached that point? Or are you at that point? Or you've exceeded that point in terms of finances, in terms of salary?
Madam, I think by God's grace, I have far exceeded, because how I look at that is that I am able to have a car and a property, buy food, buy petrol, buy my kids food, have it. You understand? So all those things that I could not do at the time.
By the way, those are things that us as RNs who are working at government, we are unable to do.
Yes.
And live
so
and say we are comfortable, we are able to take our children to the movies. You can't own a car and a property at Department of Health, particularly of good standard, when you are at entry level at Department of Health. In fact, for 10 years at Department of
Yes, ma'am.
Health.
Yes,
So it
ma'am.
means, madam.
It's no, you know what? I am not, because remember, one thing that I've found to have been a constant is that when I reach a certain level, my eyes get open to much more that I can still aspire for. So now, I'm not yet financially where I want to be, because I still feel that yes, all those things I can now tick, and I'm very grateful. However, there are still those. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm turning 50 next January. And there are things that were on my to-do list that I could not do. So, as I said in the beginning, the second part of my life, the first 15 years I was a banker, and then the 13 years that I've been a nurse, there's a list of things that I still need to tick off. I look at where I am now. I was checking the PN post that came out, PN level 3, what, and I'm saying, but my salary is now more than even PN level 3. And I'm like, okay, I'm still not yet where I can comfortably say I can walk into a dealership and point at my dream car. I'm still not driving my dream car. I am living in a house which I've always wanted to live in, but now I live here and I'm like, it means I can still go higher, So there's still more that I want. I know that I still need to work very, very hard. The job that I'm doing now is very hard. It is stressful. It's very demanding, but I am doing it because I know that after this, I would have case management behind me. I would have claims behind me, and the next step will push me to a salary bracket where I can walk into a car dealership and point at my dream car and say, I want this one. I still don't drive my dream car. I still don't drive my dream car yet, but I'm working towards that level to say, and it's not even about these material things, but it's about catching up. It's about claiming things that were they were pulled from my hands. If you are married off into an arranged marriage at 16, you still don't even know how to bath properly. You never had a first boyfriend. You never even had, you understand? So for me, everything that I have put in my bucket list going forward is things that I say, I know that my peers who I was in school with, this is where they are. It's not even about them, but it's about assuring myself that yes, there are things in my history that were not desirable, but I cannot dwell on that. I have a point to prove to myself that even if I was given a life, I was dealt cards that I did not choose, but I can damn well choose how I'm gonna play the cards I was dealt. And that is why I keep pushing myself, not even to be on par with anyone, but to prove a point to myself that it does not matter what happened yesterday, but today is the present that I can change. And I've got two girls and a granddaughter, and if there's anything that I'm living for, I'm living to prove to them that no matter what your yesterday is, your tomorrow is in your hands. I can't cry and blame my mother. How could she do this to me? She did it. It's done. There's nothing I can do about it, but I can damn well change today and tomorrow.
Listen. Some Musi says Olita is Tabo Besta's twin. Listen, you did a prison break, my dear. You did a prison break. The devil thought he had you in prison. You did a clean job.
Listen.
You cleaned the job.
Listen, and you know what? For now I think everything that I'm gonna be doing from next year when I turn 50 is everything that I'm saying. I'm working on my exit, because I mean after 50 you know that the exit is getting closer. So I want the day that my casket is lying there, my kids won't be crying like people who are lost. They will be saying, God, we thank you because you gave us a mother who showed us that, you know what, you can always come back. There's always a comeback. No matter how far gone you are, there is always a comeback. Listen, the opportunity for me to be an RN were pulled out of my feet twice. And there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm almost 50 years. I cannot go back and do, I don't want to go back and do the R171, because going back is going to now put me back financially. I cannot afford to go back to school, but I can definitely afford to push forward and see what else is there, because I believe there's more that is available. I mean, I can never overemphasize the opportunities that are in the corporate space for us. There's
Yeah.
a lot, and I'm exploring a lot. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is now my most favorite social space of all times. I I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, but all I know is that there's nothing that you cannot do, no matter whether you are an ENA, whether you are an EN, whether you are an RN. There are RNs that are living substandard life, not because they cannot live properly, but because they don't have the drive. They're just doing it because, you understand. So it does not matter which rank you actually are, but what matters is, what is it? What is your why? When you wake up in the morning, why are you doing what you are doing? For
Olita,
me,
Olita, you did me dirty. You did me dirty because on that advert, I beat the ENs, the ENA. And then you didn't tell me
yeah.
that even me as Zanele sitting here, I'm going to be motivated as well. I feel like there are people I
Asking.
did not invite because you did me dirty. You did not tell me that all of us, we are needed here. Yeah.
No, they will watch on YouTube. Don't worry. So that is the long and the short and the very long of who I am, and God willing, I believe that there's still more. There is still more, and if there's one thing that I always say, that if my story encourages at least one person, then I believe that even when I die one day, I will die a happy woman. Like I told you, I now have 3 RNs that came out of my hands. I gave them the basics and I made them fall in love with nursing. I made them to love nursing and to never look down upon themselves when they were care workers. They worked so hard that they are today RNs. They are now my seniors. Professionally, they are my seniors, but the foundation was laid by me.
Sure.
And nothing makes me more happier than that.
I think even if, I mean you join our lives. I don't think you've ever seen me speechless, ne?
Askies.
I'm going to let people because I think I don't know what's going on. I can't even explain how I feel. I'm gonna let people in so that they can talk to you. Maybe people are okay because me, I'm not okay.
Hmm.
You know, Mr. Leo left a comment. I think a couple of minutes ago. Like it's a very long time. I can't go back, but I think he said something like. I wish I can go back to that comment, Mr. Leo. But he was saying your life. He was saying that it's like God was so intentional about your life. He said something about God because I wanted to read it, but at the same time, I can't respond. But
Oh.
your life is like God was so intentional about it. I feel like your career journey, God is just showing off. It is scary. I invited you because you gave us a glimpse on that day of
Mm.
who you are. And then I was like, I need to hear this person's story. But what you told us today did not only encourage ENs and ENAs, I sit here, Nna Zanele, and I'm saying to you, I look up to you. I'm inspired by you. There are
Oh
qualifications
man.
that you have that I want. I
Oh
want them.
man.
I need them. The experience that you have, it's an experience that I'm trying to get for myself. You have no idea. Let me keep quiet because I don't know what to say. Let me let people in so
Oh
that people
man.
can speak to you. But yeah, no, this can't be normal. Guys, request and speak to Olita. She's here. She is going to take questions. Guys, please speak to this lady. Someone was asking about the YouTube Olita is speaking about, but that's my YouTube channel where I post. I think the fact that I'm going to take this and then I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel, and I also will be able to visit it consistently, and it will be a reminder of God's faithfulness on
Yep.
your life. I think that it's going to be a reassurance when things are tough for me to say, if God was able to do it for Olita, if you were able to leave a job and go to a job that gave you twice that salary, come on, surely God can also do it for me. Yo,
Yeah, no, our God is able. You know, when you speak, I'm reminded the other day you were gonna speak to sister Angela. I'm just reminded. I've met her a couple of times because I also got myself involved in the unions, young nurses in Daba, and all of those things, and I met her through that. And I remember when she started to post about the Unjani clinics. But didn't the EN also make inquiries? Am I able to partner with an RN and then we open our clinic? Didn't they shut the door? No, it's only for RNs. My heart was broken. I was shattered to
they don't
say,
know you.
these guys, I want to be an entrepreneur too, but that door was shut. But that is just the thing. I think that is just the attitude that I have adopted throughout my life to say, if one door closes, don't dwell on the closed one, because there's definitely one that is just needs you to keep to kick it open. There is a lady there, non-jabs.
Yeah.
Non-jabs, yeah, non-jabs says she's been an EN from 2007, and it means she's still there, stuck as an EN. I think people like Unon Jebs, you need to sit down and try to figure out what is it that you want. Like now, we are in the space where Sank has introduced the R171 and all of those things. If you've got the willpower and the ability to go back to school, then do it. Do it, because there's nothing as frustrating as feeling stuck in a position. And if you don't like, if you want to branch out and try out other things, try corporate every day on Pnet, every day on Indeed, every day on all these companies that do recruiting. There are positions for ENs and for RNs in the corporate space. Start at the very low beginning at a call center. People look down upon call center, but as a nurse on the call center, you are still going to apply your clinical knowledge, and you can build yourself up from there. So non-jabs can look into things like that. If you see a position, like now, I know there are positions currently on PNET for pre-authorization agents at medical aid schemes. Try out something like that, because feeling stuck, it demotivates you. So you
Let
need to
me
find
also say
something.
this, Olita, to you, ne? I say this, and honestly, every time I have to come on this platform, I think about the things that I'm gonna say because I don't want to step on people's toes, right? But I want to say this, that the toxicity in the nursing space, particularly in the traditional nursing space, where we look down on certain categories, at times it makes the people who are in those categories that are looked down on to be demotivated and to feel low self-esteem about themselves, even
Yeah.
about their profession. It makes them to think that there are no possibilities for them. I mean, they are surrounded like by people who thinking they are better or they are higher
Yes.
than thou. So at times I don't necessarily think that the ENs or ENAs who are not doing their level best to pull themselves out of the mud. I don't necessarily think they do it because they want to, but I think the environment that they are exposed to,
Yes.
and which is leading to a question that I have for you, the environment that they are exposed to makes them to believe this inner doubt that is inside. The other day I was here and I was saying I'm struggling with imposter syndrome. One of the things that helps me to get out of imposter syndrome is having the people that I have around me reminding me of who I am, how great I am. Now I have a question for you. When you were in Sebokeng, you were in an environment where I believe you had other RNs. I'm not talking about the mentor who you had. You had other RNs probably, and please, no shade to any RN in the house, but guys, we know the culture in the workspace concerning RNs, ENs, and ENAs, and I would like us to change that culture. Now, I want to know, how did you navigate yourself around that space? A space where you would be made to feel like, listen, you are not here. You are there. How did you navigate yourself in that space? How did you say, you know what, I'm not going to listen to what the environment says to me, and also probably what I feel about myself, because I do want to become an RN, but there are obstacles. So I still feel like I'm short of something. How did you step out of that and say, I'm going to find a mentor, I'm going to attach myself to this man, and I will learn everything that RNs do? How did you do that?
I think you are correct to say the environment, because when I got to Subukeng, it was the first time I came to understand that as an EN, it was assumed that I am an EN because I failed second year of D4. And I don't know, but what is D4? Because I only knew about D4 when I got to Sebokeng, and somebody made like that snipe remark that, yeah, EN, it means they failed second year and then they remain EN and they exited the course. And I said, oh, is there such a thing? I didn't even know. But what I always do is, because listen, negativity and negative people are all around us.
True.
So how I manage, whether it's at work or socially, I avoid negative people with everything that is in me. If I see that you're treating me in a way that is degrading me, or you want me to feel like you are an RN and I'm an EN, you know what I do? I lower myself. I become an EN. Actually, you don't recognize that I can actually be an asset to you. Don't I work? I quickly decide to work within my scope. I allow you to be RN and drown alone, and I do my EN and I become my EN. But if I get an RN that appreciate the fact that this person has something to offer, then I become your second hand. So I never even allow myself to be demotivated. I give you what you want from me. If you want an EN and you want me to hold you in high regard, then I give you that. I put you on a pedestal and I do my scope of practice and I leave you in peace in your scope of practice. I don't like fights to say, no, but you are junior. Okay, you are my senior. My senior, please have your throne. I'll take my chair down there, do my scope of practice, and have peace in my corner. I take a corner and I allow you to flourish in your corner. I never even get into arguments with people because I feel it's a waste of time.
Sure.
If you want to be Queen Elizabeth, then I will put your crown on your head and I will let the crown to be heavy and you will burn out in a ward, because you cannot run a 40-bedded ward on your own as an RN. You cannot. You cannot. Especially when you've got somebody who's capable to lift the burden off of you. But if you don't allow me to help you, then I allow you to be queen in your castle and I take a corner and I do my scope of practice and I keep my mouth shut.
So tell me, when you go to these job interviews of jobs that you've never done, right? Where do you get the confidence?
You know, there is I am a Christian. I think in my speech you've gathered that much.
Yeah.
When I first came into the medical space as a ward secretary, there was a verse that I used to put at my desk that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So that is my mantra. That is my go-to verse. If I go and I feel like, yo, what if they ask me something that I don't know? I invite Jesus to say, hey, brah, Jesus, let's go. Please help me here, because I know that if I have invited him, there's not, because what I found is that even when they were, when you are almost clueless about something they ask you, it's like some divine intervention you find something comes into your mind, and you find a way to even like maneuver that question and answer it and leave them stunned, say, oh wow, we didn't even look at it in that way. And in your heart you say, yo, yeah, I was just blabbing, I didn't even think this was profound. You understand? So there is always like some divine intervention available for us. I don't think we tap into that space enough. So for me, listen, now they can interview me today to run South Africa and be the next president. Bona, I can ace that interview. Not even knowing what the president does. I don't care what he does. But what I know, I will make sure that I put forward as much as possible so that what I know overshadows what I don't know. Because what I always tell people is that if you find a job advert or a position which you tick all the boxes, then you are overqualified for that position. If they want 10 things and you've got 6, you've got enough to go with.
Oh my
The
God.
others, they can always teach you. Because, I mean, if you get into a position that you're not going to learn anything, then why are you here? You understand? So now that's my attitude. That is my attitude.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to be the interviewer, not the audience. I'm trying so hard. Even my own notes don't make sense. So I want to ask you a question to say, I know you were not in the room when they were interviewing the other people, particularly where you had to do a PowerPoint presentation. Ne? So you said that before you could tell us about that scenario, you said at your work you were training people informally.
Yes.
Why did you decide to do that?
I remember I said that new scheme came. I get a med scheme as a group, or Afrocentric as a group. They've got they've got your Fed Health, your Med Shield, your Bonitas, your Gems, and all of that. So it was at the time when Med Shield was joining the group. And then they took people that worked at another company. It was called MSO. So they did not know the culture of med scheme, and then I knew it. So I applied for that position, and in the department, it was myself and the team leader who knew med scheme. These other ones, they came from that other company. So they needed us to show them the ropes. And as we were showing them the ropes, the team leader had to leave for 3 months. And then I stepped in because I was the only one who understood what was happening there. That's how I came to now team lead this team of 18 people.
So when you were doing these informal trainings, right? Just because, okay, people, these are new people, let me train them. Did you in mind somehow know that, or were you gunning for the clinical trainer position?
Not at all. I don't think I did. When I first went there, I saw these clinical trainers, and like trainers are like your high profile people, and I envied them. I was like, ooh, maybe one day I can get there. But when I was doing it at that space, the end goal was not that. The end goal was that there was a job to be done, and I could help in doing the job.
Also, I even wrote it down, this one. Why did you decide to stand out to go and buy that thing? Because I don't know, but I have a feeling that you in that interview you were probably the only one who had it.
I didn't buy it. I borrowed it. I borrowed it. I borrowed it. Listen, Akiri, when we got there, when I first joined, I was trained by the trainers. So, you know, when somebody's training you, I saw that they have these things. So I went to one of them and said, hey, Munna, I'm coming for an interview. And I went to the one who was leaving, the one whose position was advertised. I knew he will not be jealous. Akiri is leaving. So I went to the one who was leaving. I said, hey, Munna, please help me, sir. I am coming for interview. I didn't even know that he was the one who was leaving. So I just went there and I spoke to the security. Can I please speak to one of the trainers, whoever is available? And then he came along and I told him, I said, I don't know if what I need, you will be able to help me, but I've got an interview and I need this thing because I saw you guys are using it. And he says, oh, so you are interviewing for my position. I said, oh, so you are the one who's going. Thank you for going. You are creating space for me. And he actually gave it to me. Wow. He gifted it to me. Yeah. Wow. He gifted it to me.
You drove to their office particularly for that?
No, I get it. Their office was in. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Afrocentric offices in Florida.
Okay, no, I know the Centurion ones.
No, there's a big one in Florida. So the Afrocentric training is also there. So it's just big buildings, one next to another. So I walked over and spoke to the security to say, can I please speak to one of the trainers? And he said, oh, it's my position, I'm leaving. And I said, can I please borrow your pointy thing? And he said, actually, you can have it.
Someone commented here, I think it's Tandy. She said that, I think she said over-prepared. And literally that's what I wrote on my notes, that over-prepared and standing out. I particularly wrote that because I recently had a conversation with my manager, right? My manager has worked in HR, and in actual fact, she has a very quite amazing story like yours. So she was then telling me about her career journey, and then I began to ask her to say, no man. There is something about people like you, Olita. I feel like you guys do things in an extraordinary way, because you working and going to look for that laser pointer, that is an extraordinary step that you took, which I don't think anyone and everyone would have thought about doing that. So I was asking my manager to say, like how is it that every position you wanted, you got it? And she said something to me. She said, let me tell you something, Zanele. In actual fact, what I do, a lot of white people or white kids, they do it. And that is, when you are being invited for an interview, you need to prepare. Yeah. You cannot go to an interview without knowing what are they going to ask. And then I'm saying to her, do you mean I must call people who are working in the company and ask for questions? I don't know, you don't. All you need is to have the job prospectus, the job description. Ask them for the job description. Read the job description. If you can, are a white kid. So my manager is a biomedical technologist, I think, something like that. She qualified in biotech. So she says to me, what I used to see when I was working in HR, white girls, when we call them for an interview, they come to the lab 2 days before the interview, and they're like, oh, hi, can I please walk around the lab? Like, can you orientate me? I'm a student and I'm studying something to do with lab. Can you orientate me? At that time, they have a piece of paper. They are taking notes and say, oh, in this division, this is what happens. In this division, this is what happens. And when you are interviewing them, they will tell you about the laboratory as if they've worked in the laboratory. But they just saw the lab 2 days ago. But a black child will walk into the interview and they know absolutely nothing about the laboratory. You know, when you were narrating your story, you amplified so much what my manager said. And I think you guys have taught me, personally you've taught me to do better in my next interviews, in my next job opportunities. There's a part where you said, they were looking for 5 requirements or 5 criteria to meet for a job, and you had 4. There was this one that you did not have. You did not disqualify yourself on that. We disqualify ourselves so much. We don't put out our CVs, particularly us as nurses. We don't put out our CVs. We don't. We're always thinking, no, there's someone who can do it better. We're always thinking, no, there's someone who qualifies better. Well, Olita, are you in Johannesburg?
I'm in Roodepoort.
Yes, we are meeting in person. Okay, Sharp, let me let me have other people. Guys, please request ENs, please request and speak to Olita before I let her say her parting words. Please request, guys. Me, I will see her. She's just here. She's 15 minutes away from my house. So she stays in Roodepoort. You can't come to Roodepoort. I can't afford Roodepoort. I look at Roodepoort and I'm like, where am I gonna get?
No, Roodepoort is nothing. We want to go to Sentin. We want to go to Sentin.
Guys, please come in.
Feel in those spaces.
Zweli is an HOD at Netcare, very young. I think he's 30. He's in his 30s, early 30s. I think I need to speak to Zweli as well.
Yeah, no, Zweli needs to come and motivate the young ones.
I am so happy, and I'm definitely going to be putting this on my YouTube channel and sharing it with anyone and everyone I know. Guys, please come in. Someone pure says, I will also drive from Randbeck to Olita. We will be at your house. We will move in.
Well,
Okay, let's hear. Zweli is here. Guys, please request and speak to Olita. Hi, Zweli.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Zweli Olile.
Hi, Ollie.
How are you?
Yes, I'm good at yourself.
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good. No, your story actually reminds me of what I've done with the company. Don't wanna lie. I just recently moved from my previous company to the current company that I work with. And then there was the acting position. And I'm like, okay, no, man, there's people that have been here in the company. And then I've only had about 3 weeks in the company. 3 weeks. And then I was disqualifying myself. And then it's a division that I've never worked in before. And then I was like to my manager then, can I go and request just 1, 2 or 2 shifts in that department?
Sure.
And then I applied. I went to work for 2 shifts in that department, and then I applied, went for the interview. The hospital manager then, when I went to the interview, started with my dress code. No, man, I feel underdressed for this interview. And I'm like, yeah, I had to be on point.
Sure, guys. Sure.
Bear in mind, this is my third interview in my entire career.
Entire life.
My
Oh,
third
wow.
interview in my entire career.
We
And
all
then it was a management
and we show up, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure, guys.
That's the only way. That is the only way, guys.
Olita,
And then
we have ENs here, ne? Some of them I even know them by names, but they are quiet. But also, I don't want to call them and say something. I don't want to, because even me, I could not say anything. You rendered earlier on. You said if anyone asks you, I think I wrote it down. You said that if anyone asks you anything about clinical, you will mop with those people. Today you mopped with us, ma'am. You mopped with us. We are speechless here now. We are speechless and we are scared to speak because you mocked even with me. I wanted to live the life.
The award-winning sister, award-winning Nezia.
I was shocked. Who's this? Who's mopping with me like this? You see, Mr. Leo says, I am mopped below the floor. Listen, yes, sis, Olita. I man, no, you must never. Someone says, I am so speechless. I didn't know EN can go so far. You've really, really rendered us speechless. We can listen.
No, we can. We've got one of my babies is on this live. Lesego is one of my non-clinical consultant that used to work with me in this new division that we opened up. And I don't know if she's brave enough to come online, but she will tell you that now it did not matter whether you were clinical or non-clinical. If you showed the potential, I would teach you these things. And I remember that before I left, she had gotten another position in another division.
Lesego, please come
Left
on.
I don't know if she's still here, but I saw her there. And she's non-clinical, and these are the people that I will show them that, hey, it doesn't mean when you are non-clinical you can't do these things. You've got brains, this is this, and you teach them these things. And people that are, there's nothing I love more than a teachable person, because there's nothing
Yeah.
that they cannot learn. If somebody is teachable, you teach them. So Lesego was one of my best agents, and she's non-clinical.
So you saying that you taught non-clinical people to do clinical people's jobs?
Yes.
Guys, hey.
Yes. Lesego is one of my non-clinical agents that used to work with me.
So, everyone here seems to be saying they all mobbed, like everyone was.
Askies.
Yo,
I apologize profusely. I wanted to speak Ready Tabby's English, but I forgot the word. Sagittarius, what was your name? I will stick with profusely, unequivocably, whatever. Apologize. It
guys,
was
I'm about to give Olita the platform to give us her last words. I don't even want to stop the live. I'm crying, so I can't. Non-jabs. I think Olita singled you out. She called you by name. I think that should be, it should really be an indication to you, a validation to you that God has more in store for you. Olita called you by name. So honestly, I believe that a seed is planted in you, and you need to make sure that it germinates, it becomes a tree, and it yields fruits, non-jabs. I know you are always on our lives. And by the way, she's always on our lives. The first time she joined, she told us her story. She's always on our lives. So you can tell that it's someone who's haunted by passion and purpose. It's someone, let me tell you something, Onita. One thing I've read, Olita, is that our dreams, they haunt us. If you are meant for greatness, you even when you are at your lowest, you will feel that there is something that I need to give out to the world. There is something that I need to give out, and you don't find rest. I think it's the other thing that probably keeps you going. Because people see you moving and moving. You don't find rest until you feel like you've truly emptied yourself to the world. You've truly lived up to the expectation that God has about your life. And because I believe all of us, we've got purpose and passion planted within us at delivery. Not even at delivery. In our own mother's womb. That's what the Bible says, right?
Yes.
He knew us long before we could even be conceived. So non-jabs, I honestly believe that there is something in you, and you need to let it become.
Yeah, because otherwise she wouldn't come back.
No,
Somebody who does not have anything bothering them inside, they don't even join such conversations. They just go about their lives. I just read a comment there by Lele Dlamini. Lele say, Olita gave me the courage to apply, just finished my application. I can die now. Now I can die and rest in peace. Yo, guys, now you're gonna make me cry, you know? Because this is what I live for. Now I believe that they always say, what is that one thing that you would do even if you were not paid? Mine is to encourage somebody not to give up and to try again. If I do that for one person, then my life purpose is done. And yo,
Sure.
wow.
Hi, Lele.
Hi, hi. How
How
you
are
doing?
you?
Hey,
Oof,
sure,
to be honest, I've
my
been
dear.
having so much. I think this thing has been bothering me for like, I think it's 2 years now. I I matriculated in 2021 and my marks were not good. I went for a rewrite, but still I struggled. And I really, really had, and I still have the passion to do nursing. I have been looking for places where because I now I only qualify for the higher certificate, even though when the requirements are stipulated, I still don't meet them. So it's either maybe I'll meet for maths and I don't meet for life science. It'll always be that tricky. And whenever I see the requirements that I don't meet, I just skip that application and be like, okay, maybe something will come up. I have a family friend that is helping me to get into a school, and I so many times I've gotten so discouraged about applying because it's like, okay, what's the use of me applying here knowing that they'll probably reject me? I always had those moments in my head where I'm like, no, um they'll probably just not even look at my application. Let me just not even apply. I don't um meet these requirements. Let me just pass.
Sure.
And then I started following you, Netzi, and it actually changed my mindset that okay, fine, I may be scared of rejection, but giving it a try could help. Even though maybe they might not take you, but the fact that they went through your documents and they responded, that is a big thing because not all institutions actually do respond, and probably they'll even respond in a later stage. So and then also listening to you, Olita, I I just had that moment that, you know what, even though you don't meet these requirements, just apply. I just finished an application for auxiliary nursing at Mediclinic.
Yeah.
As much as I don't even meet those requirements, but I was like, you know what, let me try it. And it's funny how you're not the first person to actually speak about such stories. I was told that no, even though you don't apply, you don't meet the requirements, just try it. But I was like, no, I'm scared. I can't do that. They won't even consider. But today I actually got the courage to apply, and it's giving me mixed feelings, but at the same time I'm happy that I managed to actually finish a whole application, because sometimes I'll just leave it at um your personal information where you're just writing your name, your number, how they could get you, and putting my statement in there, knowing that you don't even meet the requirements for maths or for life, like none of these requirements you meet them, but having that courage to finish that application has actually warmed my heart. I don't want to lie, it's actually
Oh,
making me
man.
emotional, but this life really helped. It really, really
Wow.
helped. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Lele.
man.
And please don't stop applying, right? You
Yeah,
send your applications like a crazy girl to all these nursing
Mm.
colleges.
Mm.
I will really do so. I will really do so.
Oh, man.
You remember what Olita said when she went to her training department at Netcare when she was still working as a clerk? You remember what she said? The response that she got from the lady who was supposed to help her. The lady said, you are too old. You matriculated long time ago. Your marks are not even looking good. Whatever, whatever. You remember? That's the response
Yeah,
she
I
got.
do remember. I
Imagine if she
do.
had turned back and
Yo.
not say, "Can I at least apply?"
Yeah.
Olita, do you have anything
So,
to say to Lele?
yo, I just want to say to her, never stop knocking. Eventually, one door opens, guys. Eventually, there's a door, and some doors are just waiting for you to take a stand. So eventually one door is gonna open, and sitting there, oh Nkosi yami, I don't want to preach. Remember,
Preach, Mama.
Preach, preach.
there's a story in the Bible of the four lepers. They were out on the outskirts of the city, and they came to a space where they say, you know what, let us move from here and go see what we can find, because whether we stay here or we go, we're gonna die either way.
Come on.
And it's as they moved, they found that, you know what, there were spoils, they found gold, they found all of those things. So
Sure.
sometimes you need to come to a space that, you know what, kuyafana, whether I apply or not, if I don't move from here, I'll still be here 10 years from now. So move. You never know. You never know. You
Sure.
never know. You never know.
Lele, all the best, my love. I know you're not gonna stop applying now, right?
I won't. I will carry on applying. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my love. Guys, do we have anyone before I give Olita? Can you guys see that I don't want to give
Amen.
Olita a chance to say goodbye? I'm saying before I give Olita, but I don't want to give her the mic. I'm holding on to the mic like anyone who wants to come forward, guys, or forever hold your peace. But let me tell you, I understand why people are not saying anything. For us, not even a second. For the entire whole flipping life, you held me, you rendered me speechless and paralyzed. But
Oh man.
I hope that there is no one who wants to ask you anything and they are probably scared to come forward. I hope that all of us, you've quenched our thirst. Let me accept someone. Yo, Olita, yo, Olita, hi Shem. People are speechless, my dear.
I
I'm speechless.
see. We thank God.
Yeah, sure. I think people are having network problems and
Problems, yeah,
load
because
shedding. Load shedding almost stole this moment from us. Hi,
yes.
guys. Who's going first? Kwena, hi. Tandy says we need people like Olita. We definitely do, guys. I mean, these are the people that who should be on, like Olita, like their stories are the stories that it would be lovely for us to listen to them when we are driving to work, in the morning on radio. Like, yo, hi, anyways, Olita, let me officially give you, it's 10 o'clock. Let me give you,
Yeah, we
I'm
must.
doing this, but let me give you the mic and say, what are your last words to the nurses? And guys, please follow Olita. Please follow her on TikTok. Can you please give us your last words to all of us as nurses? I'm no longer now saying to ENs and ENAs because, yay.
We are all, I think my last words would be that for the longest of time our profession has been looked down upon, and unfortunately we've also contributed and did that towards each other. It's time we help one another build one. Now, I would not be where I am had it not for the people that God placed in my path. So we need one another. As I said, people are our biggest resource. So let's honor people that are around us, because your next breakthrough is literally in someone else's hands, and it's in us honoring one another that I will find the gem that God has placed in your hands for my benefit. And another thing is, we know that the registrations are now open. People that can go study, please go and study. And remember, I know the APS scores and whatever, but remember there's that thing there, the recognition of prior learning. So if you are already an EN or an ENA and you don't meet the APS, please apply, because recognition of prior learning is also going to be taken into consideration. All in all, if there's anything that you want to remember about me or about what I said today, is that the sky is not even the limit, because we know for a fact that there is life even beyond the sky that we see. So never stop dreaming. Never stop dreaming. Yeah, things might not look good for you now, but your dreams should push you. You should have dreams that fuel your next step, because you need to have something that makes you wake up from your bed and go take a bath or a shower and go try again. There's so much that wants to push us to give up. There's so much. So you need to find that one thing that pushes you to keep trying. As I said, for me, is the legacy that I want to leave for my girls, and the legacy that I want to leave for people who are in my life. To say, even when life put her down, she kept on, even if you cannot put your whole head high, as long as there's one hair protruding, push through. That is all that I can say. But never ever allow circumstances to tell you that you cannot try one more time, because it is in that one more, that try when you say, I've had it, I can't anymore, I'm gonna give it this last try. That last try that you feel is your last is the beginning of the rest of your many tries that are gonna be successful. So never ever give up. Never ever ever ever.
Hi. Ke ha o sa mopa yaanong a ke tse gore o irang ka rona. Yo, guys, listen, let me tell you this name. You have no idea. Mr. Mav says fraud.
Oh man.
I think you should have warned us. I still feel like you did not play fair, because you did not give us a warning. You didn't bother to warn and say, hey, have glasses of water because you will run out of breath. You didn't bother to do that. But let me tell you, I wanted to say this to you. I have never been excited about having a video, like watching a video on YouTube, ne? But I'm excited that I'm going to watch this one.
I'm gonna watch it too and listen to myself.
Yeah, so that you can also mop with yourself.
Yes.
In my mind right now, I'm thinking, I like playing YouTube videos, like podcasts on my phone when I drive to work. So in my mind, I'm already thinking, I've got my next podcast. It's gonna be this live. I'm a big fan of your work. Yeah. And we call you Olita. We don't even call you Sis Olita, because even in your profile, you don't look like you're turning 50 next year. You look like you are same age as us. I don't think we are disrespecting you.
No, I don't have any hang-ups, shame. I am Olita. My ID says Olita, so there's no sis or mom Olita. There's nothing. It's Olita.
We appreciate you so much.
Thank you for the platform.
Grateful. We are extremely grateful that you came. And I think when we finally do our physical meetups, career conversation physical meetups, you are definitely one of our speakers. No
Yes,
doubt.
please. Yes,
No doubt.
please.
No doubt. But I'm going to text you. I'm meeting you in person, ne? Thank you.
Sure, no problem. But
you
you
so
must
much.
just know I'm very boring in person.
It
Don't
doesn't matter.
expect
Me, I know
fireworks.
I know what I want from you. I know. I think you are actually like me because even me, this social media person does not exist in real life. But thank you so much, and
Thank you so much for the platform. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
guys. I will see you next week. No, Friday this week. Who are we speaking to this coming Friday? Who are we speaking to this coming Friday? I think it's Grace. Grace, are you here? Yeah, we are speaking to Grace this coming Friday. Grace, are you here? We are speaking to Grace this coming. Please help me. I failed my English. You need to rewrite your English, Nolwazi. You need to rewrite it and make sure that you pass it. Is Grace here? So next week, I mean this coming Friday, we're going to be speaking to Grace. Guys, I hope I won't have load shedding. Yes, she's here. Grace, we are speaking to you, right? This coming Friday. We're speaking to Grace, guys. She has also never told me her story. I think now for me to be able to like breathe and be able to be the interviewer of note, I need to ask the guests to tell me their stories and not be shocked and be mobbed with here on the lives. Because I also want to get as much information as I can out of them. But one thing I love also about my guests is that they narrate their stories beautifully. So on Friday, we're going to be speaking to Grace, and she is an acting operational manager in Chabazimbi in Limpopo. I almost said in Northwest. In Limpopo, she's doing her master's currently. Why did I particularly want Grace to come? So Grace has shared in her social media platforms that she struggled at her undergrad qualification, that she repeated a year. But now it's like academically she played catch up the way Olita did. I know a lot of us as nurses who have struggled with our undergrad qualifications, right? And it was just so traumatic and it was just so difficult. And after you get that qualification, you're like, you know what? I want nothing to do with education anymore. Clearly, if it was difficult for me to get this, then I'm probably not going to be able to ever get anything beyond this because this was difficult. Now, for someone who struggled with an undergrad, but now they are doing their masters, she needs to tell us what kept her going. She needs to tell us what motivates her. By the way, she cries a lot on WhatsApp. She will tell me, she cries a lot academically even now, but she needs to tell us what kept her going, what pushed her. She needs to tell us her goals particularly, because I have a feeling that she's going for a PhD. She hasn't said it to me, but at the rate that she's going, she's literally on the fast lane, guys. She's literally on the fast lane. And at the rate that she's going, I'm telling you, this girl is gunning for a PhD. She hasn't said it to me though. But let's tune in on Friday at 8 p.m. I'm hoping I won't have load shedding, but if I have load shedding, I'll buy data, guys. I'll buy data. I hate buying data, but I'll buy data just to make sure that Grace is here. So yeah, guys, let us go to sleep with our hearts that are extremely full. I am so happy. Thank you so much, guys, for making time. You know, I don't take it lightly that you pause your lives, literally like your lives for this live for 2 hours. I completely don't take it lightly, and I don't think that it's something you do just because you have nothing to do. Some of you stop studying and you listen to the lives, you stop attending to your families, you stop doing your house chores just to listen to the lives. Diantanda, Kakulu, I'll see you on my next one. And this live is gonna be on This Is Nurse Z on YouTube. Good night.